Welcome back to the Spit Out. I'm Jefferson, and alongside me, the one with all the holes in his game, Swiss Cheese. And this is Disc Golf World's podcast. I really need to come up with something different right there, because that sounds lame as hell.
This is the Disc Golf World podcast.
Yeah, this is kind of just lame.
This is the show.
This is the place where kind of positive. People don't like that.
It's kind of positive.
We're kind of positive. Well, I
I
can't
don't
say
think that-
positive because then people will be mad because they're like, you're just complaining all the time. Which is like, yeah, we do that here, but longer.
Man, don't disc golfers just do that in general? Like, isn't that all disc golfers?
I don't even know what I complained about yesterday.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know what I complained about either.
Maybe just the tone in which I say things. It just sounds like I'm complaining.
Yeah, you do.
I got like the whiny voice, man.
Kind of like their face, too.
Hey, the face is in the video. That's here.
I get that.
This past weekend, we had the Kansas City Wide Open, first official time on the Pro Tour, even though I believe it's one of the longest standing disc golf tournaments ever.
So, yeah, it's been around
It's like
for a
44,
minute.
something like that.
Not at
years.
the same property, but it's
No, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's been a staple. I saw one cool fact where a bunch of world champions always win that and then also win world. So it's a cool little connection there where I feel like you can see the people from back when always going to this tournament. So the history really rich, and it was kind of a cool. I mean, it was a cool event. I mean, with all the rain and all the weather delays and stuff. But we saw two winners. Go check out yesterday's recap. We saw two winners. That was a dumb thing to say. That was this is like the longest I've talked to one go, and I don't know what to say.
We had two winners.
I wanted to say just two wire winners where we just saw one person pretty much dominate from one side. There was you wanted to create some or manufacture some like, oh, there's a
two day one course records really established a tournament where most people expected a shortened tournament with what the weather was projected on Sunday. So I think that kind of like, you know, when you go into these tournaments where you're expecting poor weather to like shorten or possibly like kill a round, you kind of like expect a blitz. You just don't want that blitz to only come in two people in two divisions. Like, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what like, so I think that like didn't help the excitement of this event. And the fact that it's new, it's, you know what I mean? It's the first time running or newish. So like, it's kind of weird. And I also think it's just kind of like a weird timing of disc golf. Also, this kind of always is, this is like what I call like the lull of disc golf. And it's like always right before West Coast swing. It's like just kind of like people are like, yeah, I can do other
You think that was because DDO was right there and we were so over Emporia?
I think it's just the way that like.
And Jonesboro to the.
Yeah. Well, I think it's partially the course. And I also think it's like. I think it's just like the season of stuff. Like early on, you want to consume because like you might not be getting out there every weekend. Now you're kind of getting out there every weekend. So like, I kind of think it's a little bit of that. People are playing more. Yeah, I don't know. It just always happens. It's weird, but like there was a lot of positives to come out of this. I think everybody is well spoken of the commentary. Everybody loves the commentary. Loves the field reporters. The
Dixon Jowers killing it. And
Dixon Jowers made it like, yeah, he made
Dixon
it.
Jowers with Charlie and Brian in the booth is killer.
Okay.
It's dope.
I enjoyed it. Dixon did a good job. I think a little spice or sprinkle of different field reporters does help, I think. And they also seem to be using them a lot more. They're going to them all the time, which is great. Like, utilize those guys. They're on the course. You know what I mean? Like sprinkle in some stuff. I know they're usually like ahead of the like lead card, but I kind of also wish they were like on the tee at times, just like in crucial moments. But yeah, man, like cool thing along those lines. Course got some love. You know what I mean? I can understand it, but I don't know. It's just one of those tournaments I wish I was there because I know being at so many tournaments, I understand like it always is better than what it looks like on camera. And this is kind of like happened where it's like, man, this is kind of open. Like
it's safe to say it's better than the country club, though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
You were gonna really? That's
no,
that
man.
much
There's
of a question?
some great holes on the country club. Like you got the island 18. I think is solid, especially with the new chain, new change.
You're really going to be an Emporia
No, I'm not
apologist
like
right now?
I'm just like I'm giving him a little love. I'm not saying like it's complete trash. Like
It's not complete trash. I
like,
I
you know
wouldn't
what
say
I
that,
mean?
but
Like
it's
it's
definitely
not.
was refreshing.
I was also kind of surprised that like didn't Gannon beat it by Gannon beat the course record by 2 strokes, and he got 14 unders.
Which wasn't he set that course record, the 12 down too, I believe.
Huh?
I'm pretty sure
No,
Gannon
it was Joey. It was,
yeah, you're right. You're right.
But Gannon shot at 11 under. I would have guessed like it would have been more like 13 or 14 before coming in, because there's some definite scoreable opportunities out there. I just wish also hole 1 you could like legit go for it.
I think more people would have went for it if it wasn't for the weather, which was the bummer of the weekend, where it was just high winds and a bunch of rain, or not, well, kind of a bunch of rain. Ruined, I would say, the final day. We had to cut back to 9 holes. What was your thoughts on that? Was that the right decision? Would you like them to try to go out as long as they can to keep getting delayed, or do you like that there was a definitive, like, hey, we're done after here?
It's better than playing in the dark like at Wild that one year, so I don't mind it. I also like having a cap on it to just notify the players that like this is it. This is what you got remaining. Instead of just saying like, well, we'll play as long as we can. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like go after it, go get it. I think with Gannon's lead at the time also, it didn't really shape anything. So it kind of like made sense. I don't mind it. It makes sense. I get it. I understand when it got close and you see bright skies and everyone's like, whoa, why aren't we playing 18? Let's get Paul back into this. But then it quickly got dark, and you're like, okay, I see.
Yeah, let's get out of here. I think it didn't help that Gannon started the almost +3 through 3, and Paul was pushing up. Ricky was right there, so it seemed as if like, oh, we're gonna get this intense battle, when really it was like we had 3 strokes to play with.
I know players in that scenario. There is not many players that wanted to go back out there, especially after like another delay and this and that. Like, there's probably plenty on Easter just be like, call this already. Like, let's go home. Let's get out of here. So the fact that they did it as a 9 makes sense. It's kind of cool.
There was 2 big, I think, ideas thrown around on how maybe this could be solved in the future. Sure. Either one, having the PDGA and DGPT work together to create a policy to finish on Mondays, or having cuts for every event. Do you lean towards one? Do you have thoughts on either?
I don't think Mondays is much of an option.
Mondays aren't big, especially when you start thinking of back-to-back events and then travel plans and that
travel plans, public courses, volunteers.
Yeah, that one is just
like, you know what I mean. Like you're getting permits, you're getting like, so yeah, that's kind of out the door. It is cuts.
Is that okay?
Is cuts okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh, so you're okay with seeing it more often? Maybe just that being a thing for the future.
Absolutely. I'm not like the guy who's like, oh, we need to speed up the game. We need cuts for this, this, and this. There's enough players. Cuts can happen. Like, and there's nothing worse than videotaping backups in any division. Like, there's nothing worse than that.
Yeah.
And so, like, if that helps that, like, yeah, pull it out. Does it suck for the people that are there, you know, making pro debuts and stuff like that? Sure, but I don't think anybody expects any, like, why? Yeah.
I think it makes sense too, where it's like you play yourself into the position to make money, and everyone on that final day makes money. I know there's questions on if there's ties and people, whatever, but for the most part, you're playing.
We're all fucking like they're professionals here too. Can we be real? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're quote unquote a professional disc golfer. You should be comfortable enough with a cut.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If what you are trying to attain is cash at all times, making the cut should be part of that process to getting it. Like, and I get everybody has, like, I understand, like, people will say, like, final day, I could have gotten this, they could have done, well, yeah, sure, there's a lot of what ifs. But, like, with a cut, it's like, all right, you got 2 days to do this, go. Now you can do this. Or, you know what I mean? And I don't necessarily mind having a cut where it's even where you pay out everybody. I don't think it needs to be like a cash line cut. I'm fine with maybe keeping like whatever 5-6 spots behind the cash
Interesting. I think I'm more of a proponent on the cash line.
I get you.
Just then it's like, hey, you know, you're, like I said, for the most part, if you're going to be in the cash or not.
Yeah,
Now,
it would kind of suck to play a third day and not get cash.
Mhm,
Yeah,
yeah.
that does kind of suck. But it's already fucking happening.
that is true.
Like
Yeah,
for so many people. So
that is true.
like,
Now, this also put into question, I would say both winners now have kind of asterisks on their wins. One side with there being a shortened round, I don't think it really matters because Gannon's a multi-time winner.
Sure.
He's proven, so no one's really going to question that. If it's someone else, maybe. Like if it was their first win, I could see there being debate and people just bringing up that question just to be a dick. On the other side, also along the same lines of being a dick, calling Holyn Handley's win without Kristin Latt at the event. Is that a talking point? Is that a real thing?
no.
It was in our group chat.
Yeah.
I know people are thinking it.
I know. It's dumb too.
I agree.
It's
totally
so
agree.
dumb. Like, Holyn has obviously established her at the very least, minimum. And as I know there's people that will still want to debate it, but the second best, and for this year, arguably the best this season.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Female disc golf golfer, female professional disc golf.
Mhm.
She's podiumed every stop, and only one of those is a third. Like 2 wins on the season with her, and she's got another. Like that's what I kind of said in the last video. Everyone was like, they didn't want to give her credit when she did play Tatar. It was always like, oh, Tatar, like whole 18 beat Tatar, right? You know what I mean? And it's like, nah, Holyn did enough to win. So like, it doesn't make sense. She's there. I think she's going to be there all year. Nothing says like, I think this is going to be an epic season. And if both of them can pull it, like, man, could you imagine both maintain this podium streak for a minute and like what that means? And like ultimately like the back and forth the two will face. This is kind of like a Ricky Paul scenario where it's like, you're always competing because you're the two best and you're always around. Even when you're not competing, you're still competing because like you're in each other's shadow. You're always there. You're always pushing. And I know there's plenty of pros out there that are good enough, but like the fact that you're podium every tournament, 5 in a row, she's playing every tournament that people don't want to give her credit for. Also, she's grinding and delivering. She's player of the year candidate right now. Also, you know what I mean?
Hands down.
Yeah, majors are going to start. This Champions Cup is really going to set the stage as to whether like the majors are what's going to shape the FPO player of the year is what I'm trying to say. The amount of win majors that each other wins or the comparison between the two, I think is going to happen. Is where it's going to determine, and I think Holyn might have a slight edge on this track.
At Swenson?
Yes.
Damn.
Yes.
She would definitely pull away and it would create a nice storyline moving forward.
Yeah, I think she has a slight edge. But yeah, I do. I think she could, and
It'd be fun to watch.
I don't think it should be surprising. Yeah, I mean, I can't stand that stuff, dude. I really can't. I hate even like talking about it. Like I hate talking even on the coverage. I hate like who at each other's best. Who's gonna do this? Who's gonna do that? And it's like, dude, she's still a badass. They're both fucking badasses. It's the greatest thing. This is what we've been clamoring for. This is what we all talked about at Worlds last year. Everyone was saying like, oh, we need somebody to compete. We need this. Everybody's been saying it. Now that it's here, everyone's trying to say like, well, Latt wasn't there, and yeah, it's not the same.
Well, that's why you're going to see that fan base that just loves Kristin, and they're always going to just, at what she's proven so far, put her on such a high pedestal where they're creating that narrative because in their heads, she is the GOAT.
Yeah, you pull up like Kristin's career stats, and you're just like, whoa. You know what I mean? Like there's
But that being said, this is the beginning part of Handley's career when you really think about it, of her putting the absolute work into the grind time, and you're seeing the results now. Think back of 2019, 2020, early on, Kristin, when she's just coming onto the scene. Compare that to Handley and what we're going to see in the years to come.
And that's what I'm trying to like. This is what I also don't get. I get that like Kristin's beloved, but what we've seen, the progression that we've seen Holyn grow, how is there not more people that are like on board with like, nah, she's badass? Like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like, and I get the mental aspect. I get the unwarranted errors, but let's be honest, like that happens to every pro.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Dude, we just saw it at Kristin, hole 18 at Sprinkle. I know we want to just talk about the hole being bad, but plenty of players saw it just fine.
Oh man, and when Kristin misses on a forehand, it's like some of the ugly. It's like ugly when she misses on her forehand. Like it's not often. Like don't get me wrong, but when she does, it's like whoa, where did that come from? And Holyn has some of those same things, but like to think like. And I think I also want to say like she's kind of over this whole like don't get me wrong, there's always pressure and playing to the pressure is something, but like this whole like nervy like she can't do it. She's got multiple wins. Granted, she lost in a playoff, but like she has multiple wins, big events. She's multiple podiums. I think that's just out of her hands. And let's be real, like if it wasn't for Cadence, she would have separated.
Yeah.
Like there was like only one person that kept pace with her. That lead would have grown and it would have been like a Tatar finish or a Latt finish. Oh, I could say Tatar because it isn't bad. But you know what I mean? Like so, yeah. I don't know, man. Our fans are so fickle. Like we call for what we want. We ask for this is what our dream scenario, and then we get it, and then we want to critique it. That's why I'm saying disc golf just are critical. It's not just us. It's all you.
It's everyone.
Yeah,
but it's fine. So speaking of Cadence, then would you were on what'd you say that she's going to be the most improved player by the end of the year?
Yes.
And you're continuing to see that. I mean, she's not dominated, but for what was expected out of her at the beginning half of this season, excelling, I would say.
Yeah, we're talking. There's a lot of you watching that had no idea who Cadence Burge was prior to this year.
She's still super young, mind you.
Yeah, I think she's just turned 18.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I think she just turned 18. So there's plenty of you that didn't know her, but she's popped before. She had like a hot round at Preserve, I want to say a year or two ago that opened some eyes. Amateur champion. I think she plays very well into what her game is. I think she's kind of like got like that Missy Gannon, like I'm going to play my game and it's going to deliver. She's solid on putting. She's got enough tools to have her excel in the FPO. Like it used to be like you used to think like FPO was just like whoever threw the furthest had the largest chance, but now the way like OB has kind of come into play and all that, like it is now becoming the person who can take what the course gives them, deliver on putts is going to be in a top 10 in FPO.
You have to have a well-versed game.
Yeah.
I even saw conversations talking back about Paige versus Kristin back in the day, or even just when Paige dominated and just the courses not being as much as up to par what we would consider at today's standards.
Oh, no.
So I think the game evolution's forced it. I mean, everyone in general, but specifically we're seeing that FPO, the younger group, then come to because they were playing that style of golf from the young. So they've had to get all the skills. Cool to see. I think we're going to see very competitive because not only with Cadence, I think there's a lot of the younger generation FPO that is just super talented. It's just on the way.
Yeah, there's some definite ones coming for sure.
And it's cool because for some reason, maybe it's just what I'm noticing on my timeline, but there's a bunch of young, like I want to say FPO, where they're not like probably FPO, but they're young girls, but they love making disc golf content, and that's what I like to see. Where it's like you, like the one that has a podcast, where I'm like,
yeah, her name's like Eva like
Lazensko,
right? Yeah, she's talented too,
and shaping the game of what it can be. And I'd love to see that. It's super sick,
man. She's like super promoty too. Like her sponsors have gotta love her because it's always like, hey, you throwing a grip bag? You know what I mean? Like she's talented. Yeah, like and I think even this is kind of the scary part when we talk about like players pay and like you and I talked about this the other day, where it's like it used to be like you could be young and good and get paid. That's out the window. Like, there's so many young good players. You still have to do enough to stand out. It's no longer being like, yeah, young, get a win on tour, you're gonna get a contract. You're gonna get a multi-year deal, right? There's you got the Joey Buckets of that. You got these to where it's no longer like that. And it's good to see, like, man, those young players just get on the content game, do what you got to do early, and engage, because I think that's what's really gonna be needed.
Yeah, and it's better to do it younger because you need to create the following before like a bunch of pros right now are noticing like, hey, this is kind of difficult. Yeah, it's hard to just come from nothing to be social media superstar. So if you start now and you can build that up at least, hey, you might not become a professional, but you might have a social media where you get free stuff. Like,
do it now because you'll also learn how to edit it. And that's also important with the pros too. Like if you can edit your own videos, that's going to help you out.
Goes a long way.
Yes.
Over on the MPO side, I wanted to give a quick shout out to our boy Gavin Rathbun taking a 4th place finish. Doing big things over there. First, like really good finish from him from his prodigy bag. I know that was a question that I was concerned about because it seemed as if he was playing so well from the disc that he knew.
I don't know. When you watch Rathbun in person, you kind of see it's hard to say. Like, and as much as people claim to see it on the coverage, and I'm sure you do, when you're there in person, like you can usually kind of like just watching them throw off the tee, where you're like, okay, this dude's up there with the rest. And Rathbun's there. A lot of people like the fans that are in the know about Rathbun, knows about the start, knows about the injuries, knows what he could be. And I think keeps continually opening eyes. I really hope, I kind of really hope that like this is kind of like kicks off like a little run. Because man, more top 5s, more top 10s is going to be great for him. And like if he can get another championship run in back-to-back years, that's successful.
Yeah, totally. Like, and he's got 2 years for prodigy, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Did he get a 2-year deal?
I want to say so. Oh, shit, I could be making that up.
You might be making that
whatever.
Up.
Also, this past weekend we had match play. Well, at least some of it. Like the pools A and B were scheduled, so half the events. We saw the Ricky versus Paul showdown. We saw the Gannon versus AB one. I would say that the Paul and Ricky one lived up to what it was expected to be. You saw back and forth. It kind of mattered as much as Paul at the end wanted to say. What did he say? Like, this might not even matter at the end of the day. Yeah, I think he was really trying to not play it down. But I think it lived up to what I kind of wanted.
Hey, man, I think it's great. I think what match play does is it allows, like, you're never out of it. Like, you know what I mean? You just don't feel out of it. Like, so there's people who are up 3 holes to give it away. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah, didn't Outlook come back crazy in the back half? Yeah, exactly.
So like that's kind of the wild part about it. You got the best talent out there playing each other. I think Dixon helped promote that a little bit. I think having that type of, even like a Zach Melton or someone out there like that to kind of engage and kind of get the mood right also amongst the pros, I think would help. And yeah, I think there's got to be a little bit like, politely, like DGPT needs to nudge some of these pros and be like, guys, like, I need you to like talk and like razz and do this and like, you know what I mean? Like, we need some type of back and forth. I think that helps.
Yeah, they're not gonna say that.
I know.
They're not gonna push it. Yeah,
like, hey guys, they should do like fucking Dana White type shit. Like, hey, anybody who has like the most entertaining round,
10K.
Yeah, like here's a bonus pool. Yeah, why not? Like,
well, they just got money.
Or like, hey, best throw. Like, man, DGPT could do something like that. Like, hey, whoever has especially like they give it away every coverage. Like, why not be like, hey, whoever has the best throw in match play gets this. Here's a bonus. You know what I mean? You get like kind of like what Go Throw does. You get an ace, you get this. You get this, you get this.
I saw someone, they could have been just totally making this up, but said that there was going to be like a mini series on match play, like at the end of it all.
What do you mean, like a mini series?
Like a documentary style of sorts thing? I don't know. That's just what I saw in the comments, but that, again, could totally be made up from just something I saw online. Like 99%, probably that's what's happening. But if that was happening, fire. Like that's the type of content that I would like to see them moving forward with.
That would be kind of neat.
If it's whatever in my head.
If you're gonna do the mini series though, like why wouldn't you do like a silly one after every stop?
A silly what?
Like a little mini doco about every stop match play. You know what I mean?
It might. I don't know what the envisioned thing is.
Man, there's so many, like this is kind of the problem with like there's so many things. So ultimately, like the ultimate problem with this, and this is what they're gonna have to figure out when they start doing team events and they start doing like really progressing into what they want to do, is the problem is you have this event, it will get attention, it will get eyes, and then it's gone. Right? Like it's just like it's gone. No different than like the DGPT point standings, right? Like it's not there, it's not discussed enough. If it is discussed, it's going to happen in 2 weeks away at Champions Cup. So now you have this event self-contained in this moment that's talked about for a day or two until Gannon goes and blows up, and that becomes the talk. And you don't know the records, you don't know this, you don't know where seeding's at, you don't know the group the group plays numbers until the next event where they cover it at the coverage. And that's the problem. Like you want to talk about like getting buy-in and like getting the embracement of the community, is you got to kind of slap this in their face. Like you got to throw it out there and you got to put it in there. So that match play should have had this, and then they should have plastered all over the place what the group stages look like. Here's the points.
Well, they didn't even have any side of post-produce.
Yeah, like do something.
Like you had to have DGN unless you're watching the highlights on YouTube to even know what the hell's going on.
Precisely. Like little stuff where it's like that, where it's like, guys, you are like, you're knocking on the door, but like nobody's home. Like, you know what I mean? You are so close to being that. And this is my concerns with like everybody wants a team event because they think it's going to be like every major league team and people are going to buy in and get this and do that. No one's going to buy in unless you start force feeding it. And that's the points. That's this, that's that. That's the giant failure. Q series, this match play, the eventual team event. It's a press release. It's a press conference before it. And then it happens, and we talk about it for a day, and then it goes away until it comes back again. And that's the problem. Like, it's just a problem. Like, we should, and I think they do a good enough job, like at least Charlie and Brian do a good enough job of working in the, like, not only that, the bets, this stuff. They do a great job of, like, sneaking those stuff in, but like you kind of got to sneak in the points, you kind of got to sneak in this, and like you kind of got to show it, and you kind of got to tell the storyline, and you can't rely on the funny thing is you can't rely on the content creators to do it, because all the most of the bulk of the content creators are doing podcasts,
and they're not talking about this most of the time too anyways. It's not relaying back.
There's like, it's casual and it's chatting. It's this. It's nothing like, it's not advertisement. It's not plastered. It's not in your face. It's not highlights. It's not.
And I still think there's a huge disconnect between the professional disc golf fans and watching other content. When you're looking at like the other stuff, I think the most viewed things is Grip Lock, their podcast, us,
Tour
Life, which we're getting 20,000 views for us is a good one. And when you get 150 on a small video watching Joe, like how can we get any more of those people to cross over? And I think that if we can figure that branch out, that educating the fans would be easier, but it's not getting done. Like the fans don't care, and maybe that's because they also aren't buying into the whole. Like they just are tuning in for tournament winner. I'll watch the next tournament. There's not that depth to the sport really. It's not being shown.
And this is kind of like, I love how everybody loves to talk about how we don't have a history and we don't have that, but we kind of do. That's what we were raised on. It was event after event, post coverage, look at the results. And that's all you talked about.
That is true, yeah.
And 100%. So like there's still a lot of people that just don't know what to talk about, or the fact that there is stuff to talk about, or this. You know what I mean? Like that's the funny thing about it. And so like, until the community starts learning that and embracing it, we're kind of be stuck in the same boat. I guess we're too caught up in like watching stupid. That's politely calling it stupid, but like disc reviews or this or that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're caught up in like that type of coverage instead of like pro talk discussion.
People just don't, they don't like it. Like,
I know, it's weird.
Can't shame people for not liking it as much. There's a way that we can create. I say as content creators as a whole need to find medium that can grab these people's attention.
We got to adjust, right?
Yeah.
We got to adjust. I think it is as much as
I would also argue that there needs to be help from the other side pushing, even if it is not us. Not saying that they need to shout us out, but like they're not pushing any other third party pro tour talk. Like they're not like, go watch Grip Lock to hear the latest details. Da, da, da. They don't even do it for their own thing. I don't ever hear on DGM Brian plugging like, hey, we have a new podcast. We go all in depth and all the
that's
stats.
a good point.
Like there isn't a funnel to anything extra besides this.
There should definitely be more of an embracement among content creators also. Like the weird, like, I don't know, like, I guess people think that we're like fighting for each other's space or something, but like,
yeah, as much as it's gonna be like ironic coming from us saying like we want to help and be a part of it with like everyone. Like the more collabs, the better. The more that we can.
I know no one's believing.
I know, I know, but it's true. Like from the start of the creating this, it was always about the connections and being one big team is how we build disc golf because we're such a small sport, small organization. At the end of the day, we need each other's help to push each other forward. This is not a stealing each other's view thing. If someone watches our 10-minute video, they can watch Wild Run's 10-minute video. They can go watch the next person's 10-minute video. Maybe not so like our podcast here, our podcast there, our podcast here, but still.
No, yeah, and it's like, but I think we do need to effectively change. I think content creators should be just as much as part of that conversation as DGN, pdga. Because, man, like it's everywhere. You had the collegiate championship that wasn't.
Dude, those videos are crazy to watch, too.
That's an incredible event that's just, like, wasted. That nobody. And, like, I don't know what it is. Like, people are just not behind it. And it's wild. And it has, like, the stuff that you want. It has the team that you want. And it's, like, it's everywhere. It's, like, little aspects where it's, like, how do we get off this just, like, it's whatever the pro event is, then it's the next one, and then it's this, and that's like that talk. And it's like, there's so much out there. There's so many ways to engage, and I think we all could get better. And I think it's just being creative. And as much as like, this is kind of where like the 9-hole thing conversation comes in, like where it's like, hey man, like if we can get active in how we kind of portray this, what we portray, get more unified and kind of do it, I think it's worth it. Like, you know what I mean? And yeah, and being like critical and saying our piece when we need to is also part of that. Like, you know what I mean? Because that needs to be said also. But I think what the college tournament did was awesome. What they put together was great. And the post coverage that's there is good. Like, but when you go into it, essentially only the final round is covered. So you're going into the final round with no buy-in on this team unless you're related.
Yeah, you know nothing. No, nothing about the kids, nothing about the teams. Like,
so like, and even though like you had one that was going for its 3rd national championship in the X number of years, and you had storylines, you had redemption, you had this, and this, nobody knows that going in. Nobody has that story because nothing's covered before. None of the qualifiers are covered before, and like. That's what when we talk about like being engaging on coverage, that's the stuff that needs to see. Like you need to tell the story, whether it's in match play and all that. You need to tell all.
Yeah, disc golf as a whole needs to get better at that.
Yeah,
telling the story of what's going on besides here's cool disc golf, because the cool disc golf's there. That part's nailed. We got that covered.
Yeah,
we've been doing a really good job.
We're really good at also telling like how we feel about things. We got that one covered also. But we need to get more in line of like, let's tell the story. Let's tell this.
That's the big next step. Yeah. The hurdle that once we figure that out, I think disc golf has a better chance of going somewhere because it feels as if it's been very stagnant. I don't go declining. I won't go there yet. But it feels very like we've plateaued. It gets me nervous.
Man, there's a lot of stuff that makes me nervous. Like, dude, the chat, like, Reddit used to have a lot more pro talk. Everywhere used to have
Facebook
pro
groups used to be
talk.
popping too.
Yeah, like you used to be able to kind of like chat and like talk amongst each other about what's going on, and then like there's less of that.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's like this lull that I was speaking of, or if people just really aren't doing it. Like,
I think we've noticed too, though, a level of once we get back from Europe, and maybe
Yeah.
a little bit before that too, because we'll go back to back majors. But
Mhm.
once we get back from Europe, where it's like the Ledgestone, Idlewild, D-Glow, and then
That
we hit the
runs, yeah.
GMC, MVP, everyone gets fully involved.
yeah, that runs. Yeah, that's all.
And then we get to the championship and no one cares anymore. Back to no one liking the standings and paying attention to the points. Because the final event, no one cares about. So that doesn't help.
Yeah, even though it's like the highest paying, and yeah,
People just will complain about the format. It's, I don't know. If there's something to nitpick about it being different, maybe this is the problem. Maybe this is why nothing tries to be different. It's because everything that does gets shit on immediately.
well,
for
you
trying
also
to be
there is.
different.
You're right, but there is a level. There is also like a little bit of like you need to try it and then like try to build on it. Like it's a little bit like, hey, we're gonna try it this year, and then we're gonna try this
Mhm.
year, and we're gonna try this year, instead of like this is where we want to go and we want to build. We want to build. And that's what I kind of think what this match play is. It's like, hey, we're gonna do this match play, and then we're gonna do this team event, and this is gonna lead into this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a building block. So that's where they're doing it, where it's a lot smarter. I just hope. Here's another thing. All right, let's say a hypothetical. This is kind of getting interesting. Like, so let's just say there is a team event. This is my worst case scenario of a team event. You're gonna have a team event on a Wednesday. You're gonna have an event or Wednesday or Thursday. You're gonna have the event on Friday and go from there. My worry and what I don't want, and this is what exactly happened with the match play. I do not want the same commentators for the team event as I do for the event. I don't want that. Give me a different one here. In fact, select what you think is if you're going to run this team event, like I expect them to run set commentators for all the team event, whether they're on that property or not. And then
That's not bad, yeah.
and have a separate event team. You need something to say this is different. Because that's the problem with it is like everything bleeds into like one event where it just kind of feels like they're trying to sell tickets. So they're bleeding into like the weekend event. It's the same commentators. It's going to be filmed the same. And then nobody pays attention.
That's a next year. That's a to be determined type thing.
If you want to call it.
I know. I doubt it'll be on live for its first year. I think if they do anything super different.
Don't get me wrong. We've heard stuff, but it's like, I think it's been made abundantly clear by Jeff in interviews and stuff that like, this is their eye. So like, even what we're hearing, Jeff is saying out loud. So it's not like, it shouldn't be a surprise for anybody who's paying attention.
Gotcha.
But it's happening.
Is there anything else you want to talk about from this past week?
We're in the cool down from everybody getting to complain about Swenson being a major and it's not wooded. I'm over that talk already.
Great, because that's what next week's podcast will be about.
Yeah, I'm already over that.
Sucks. Get ready next week.
I know. I don't think this property is as bad as everyone makes it out to be, and I'm sorry, like West Coast major makes sense. Those aren't gonna happen. West Coast majors might be about as rare as a major overseas.
We got 2 this year.
I know, but like, that's
Yeah, European Open every
it's not
year,
gonna happen.
every
That's
year.
not gonna happen again. Like for what, 5 years almost minimum.
Back to back, or 2 majors. in
I
a
don't know.
year?
Nate Heinold's got to get some friends over there, and then it'll happen sooner. But
Maybe.
like,
Yeah,
he's not
expand.
far. It wouldn't take much. Like, yeah. But yeah, like it's not gonna happen anytime soon. And like now you got Northwoods getting another one. They got the championships out east. Like, when are we gonna see a California another major? Unless it's Worlds, that ain't happening.
It ain't happening. But we're going to talk about that all next week, which is why you should subscribe. Stay tuned to the Spit Out. Stay tuned for everything else we're doing of This Week in Disc Golf coming out Friday, where you can stay tuned with everything going on in the disc golf world.
The Spit Out.
Yeah, love the sip. Thank you guys so much for supporting. See you next one.